Hi bag makers, this is the Azumi Crossbody bag, our new sewing project. So let's take a look at the details. It has a divided front pocket, so you have 2 slots to put your stuff in. It has interior with zipper and slip pocket as well. You have a fully closed top closure. The D-rings are attached to the sides. So the gusset part is made from 2 or 3 parts to be exact. We have these faux leather corners that are attached to the front and to the back if you like. That's up to you because it's your bag. But what's really special about this one is the top closure, because your bag will close all the way from start to beginning and you don't have any gaps on the sides. And let's take a look inside again. If you open it, you see it's fully closed. And there again, you can see the divided slip pocket, the main compartment, and an extra zipper. So, are you ready? So let's make your personal, unique Azumi Crossbody bag. But first, we gotta start with preparing our pattern and our fabrics. When you print out the pattern pieces, make sure that you use the right settings. It's important to use the right format, either if you use US letter, DIN A4. I provided you with all these different type of medias, so make sure you've chosen the right format. And also print on 100% or on actual size, and then press print. And you can also check the box on the pattern piece if your measurements has the correct size. So some pieces need to be assembled, and to do so, just orient. I'm sorry, my English. Just attach the 2 capital letters together, and this is how the pieces are assembled. And next up, I will show you the fabrics that I've used making the Azumi, but you can choose whatever you like. So I used faux leather. This is a outdoor fabric, a water-resistant canvas. And for the interior, I've used just some lightweight cotton. And now let's talk about the interfacings I've used. I've used some G700, it's a woven interfacing. I've used this on all of my lining pieces. Then I've used some Decofill Light for all the main body pieces except for the main closure. And as well, the same is for the Palon Thermalon, which is a H630 as an alternative for the main body pieces, except the main closure, because I've used some H250 for this one. It's not available in the US, but I heard an alternative could be a decor bond. I put this in the pattern pieces. So when you cut out the front pocket, this can be quite tricky because yes, I made many mistakes with this one. So I've made a marking on the pattern piece. You put the pattern piece down if you draw on the wrong side of the main fabric, and you put the pattern piece up if you draw on the wrong side of the lining fabric. And the same thing is working for the Decofill Light and the Palon Thermalon. Just make sure you cut this from the right side and fuse the Decofill on your main fabrics, and I fused the Palon Thermalon on top of my Decofill, and both of them are out of the seam allowance. You can use the dotted lines on the pattern pieces for help. So this is all the pattern pieces that I've cut out and prepared. The main gusset piece is different than the lining gusset piece because we have to attach the D-rings in between. See, this is the top from the gusset. That is why there are 2 different pattern pieces for the gusset. And then let's look at the faux leather corners. Decide if you like only the front or if you like the front and back to be assembled with this one. So you either need 2 or 4 pieces. This is the front pocket. We talked about this. And this is the reason why it has to be cut mirrored. We have this attachment for the D-rings and the main closure. It's only fused with H250 for the main fabrics. We have a slip pocket for the inside, for the interior. This is the zipper facing for the interior zipper pocket. Of course, we do need zipper and some hardware. We need 2 sliders, we need 2 D-rings, and for the strap we need the swivel clasp and the slider, and we also need some rivets. Okay, let's go. Let's start with the front. So when you cut out the front correctly, you can put this right sides together and sew together the top edge with 1 centimeter or 3/8 inch seam allowance to just prevent some wrinkles and everything. I trimmed down the seam allowance in the curvy section with some pinking shears. Yes, thank you all for letting me know. And most countries in English, this is called pinking shears. And then I turn this wrong sides together. Just form out the curves nicely. Just use your finger to make sure that everything is like smooth, nice, no wrinkles, and then press it with an iron or with your press, because yes, it's just a cleaner, nicer look like that. And then top stitch the upper edge, going around the curves. Just top stitch right here. And now we will attach the faux leather corners. I'll make a marking, so I draw a line 1 centimeter or 3/8 inch from the edge on both of them. And take your pattern piece. If you're not sure again which side is the upper, I made a marking here for my corner that goes up. That's not on the bottom edge, on the side edge. And then you can fold it over. I know maybe sometimes some people don't like to do this with clips. It's just how I do it. Of course, you can use some double-sided tapes. So there was my marking. So this is the top. So this one is the right corner, because we've cut this piece mirrored as well. So don't get it mixed up. It should line up with your front pocket, just with the curve perfectly. So when you attach it, put the lining fabric out of the way, attach it to your front and just secure it with some clips. And then we will baste this on our front pocket. Of course, you can skip this part if you don't like to have any of these corners on your back. Once again, this is your project, your bag, and you decide what you want your bag to look like. So I've used like just the regular size that I use for top stitching, which is usually 3.4 or 3.5 millimeters. And I work my way around the corner first, and then just top stitch it onto my front pocket. Again, making sure that your lining fabric is not behind, is not sewn in. You need to fold it up, because we don't want this to be sewn in. Of course, you could also do this before you attach the lining. I just like to do it like that because it gives me a better look on how the final front pocket will look like, and if I really want to use the corners or not. And then you just repeat the same thing with the other one. Baste it on there, just top stitch is the correct word. Top stitch it onto your front pocket. I'm sorry. So when you're done, you can just trim off the excess corners, and then you decide if you want to have it on your back as well. And for me, I took some time. I always think, oh, what's looking better? How should I do it? This was the final decision. So again, I just repeated the thing that we just did. I just fold it over and place it on my corners, and then just top stitch it on. So we have the front and back prepared. Now we put the front pocket on top of our main fabric front that we've chosen, and line it up at the sides and the bottom edge. And now we will draw a line centered on the front pocket. and baste the front pocket on our main fabric front. So I just like to use my cutting mat to find the center, and then I just take some chalk and draw a line. You could also do this with masking tape, just whatever you have on hand, what you like. Just make sure you tested your pens or something that they are removable. Okay, this is what it looks like from the front, and I will show you from the back as well. We've top stitched the side up from the center and down again, and the other side. And now we will attach 2 rivets in the curvy part of the slip pocket, the exterior slip pocket. So we will punch 2 holes for the seam because we don't want to damage or hurt the stitches from the top stitching the front pocket. So you punch 2 holes and insert 2 rivets. Of course, if you don't like rivets, if you don't have them, if you don't like the look of it, it's up to you if you like it or not. You don't have to do this. I just like the look of it, and I think it gives the back a little extra strength, or the slip pocket an extra strength. But that's personal preference. I just like the way it looks. So I attach 2 rivets, and so then the front and the back is done. We just have to mark the centers from the top and the bottom of our front and back pieces, and then we can move on to the next part, which is making the gusset. So we take the D-ring tab, mark the center line, and fold the raw edges to the center line, top stitch the sides, and take some scissors and divide the pieces. So you have 2 tabs for 2 D-rings. We put the D-rings onto a tab each, and the width of your D-ring tab depends on the width of your D-rings, of course. So then you have to mark the centers on the short edges of your gusset main fabric piece, and place your D-ring centered on this marking and baste it on there with a few stitches to make sure that they stay in place and won't move. So decide which tab should go on which side and baste it on there within the seam allowance. Now we will attach the top gusset pieces. We put these right sides together on the gusset and sew this together with 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3 8-inch seam allowance. Both ends will be attached the same way, and then you will fold it up and fold up the D-ring and top stitch on the gusset piece. And then I thought I would like some rivets here too, so I just insert 2 rivets, but it's up to you. It's not in the written pattern because I didn't do it on the one before, but I just thought this would look nice. Just consider, if you like to insert 2 rivets here as well, that you would need 2 extra rivets, because in the pattern description I only added 6 rivets in the material list, so this would make 8 now, but that's the only thing that would change for you. 2 extra rivets, and I like the look. I like how this turned out. So yeah, it's a nice look, don't you think? So now you have to mark your center, and then we can move on with the next part. Oh, and compare it to the lining piece. Both pieces should be the same size now. And then continue with the next step. So now we will assemble the main body, meaning we will put together the front, the back, and the gusset main fabric pieces that we've just prepared. So therefore, mark all the centers, if not done already. Maybe you've done this already. The top centers of the front and back, the bottom centers of the front and back, as well as the centers on the main fabric gusset piece. And I will attach it to the front first. I just removed some chalk. So we align the bottom markings. You put them right sides together. And then I will start at the top. Attach the top and work my way down with clips to the center marking on the bottom. And also make some small snips within the seam allowance on the curvy part of the well, the curve is in the front actually, but you make the snips in the interior fabric, not in the front. And then correct yourself, but this should fit perfectly. As well on the other side, you start at the top again, aligning the top, and work your way down with clips, securing everything together, making snips within seam allowance in the curvy part, and continue with attaching the gusset to your front piece. So now we will sew this together with 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3/8 inch, but baste it first. I know many of you don't like basting. I really suggest you to baste it together first within seam allowance. It's just safer this way. Of course you don't have to, but I like to do it like that. So I did it, and then I trimmed the seam allowance just a tiny bit, like 2 or 3 millimeters, like 1/8 inch, something like that. A little bit more on the curvy section because it will form out nicer. If you have a fabric that tends to fray a lot, consider using a zigzag stitch just to keep your side seams safe from fraying. And now we will attach the back piece to the gusset exactly the same way. First align the bottom centers and then work your way from the top to the center marking and make small snips within the seam allowance in the curvy section. Baste together first and then sew with 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3/8 inch seam allowance. And when it's done, you can trim a little bit of the seam. And if you like to use a zigzag stitch as well. And then the main body is assembled. Looks good. Let's go and take care of the interior of the Azumi Crossbody bag. First, we will make the slip pocket. The divided slip pocket is basically the same slip pocket as on the front, just without the curves and a little bit lower. So we place them right sides together, the two slip pocket pieces, and sew the top edge with 1 centimeter or 3/8 inch. And then I finger press the seam open and press it. It's just a nicer, crisper way for the top edge. And then we fold it wrong sides together and top stitch the the top edge. This is what the top stitching is looking like. And then we'll place it on one main body piece, lining piece, and attach it the same way as we've attached the front pocket. Find the center. Draw a line from top to bottom. Use some chalk or removable pen or masking tape, and then you will baste the sides together until the center, then up and down again, and the other side. See, this is just, I removed the chalk because I keep forgetting, and I think it's easier to do this before the bag is assembled. And now it's time to take care of the interior zipper pocket. So we will take the zipper facing and draw a rectangle on it. So it's centered and it's 7.5 times 3/8 inch. And the size in centimeters, it's 19 centimeters times 1 centimeter, and it's centered. So in centimeters, it's 2 centimeters from each side. Then you draw a center line and small little V's to the corners of your rectangle. And now we will attach it to the other lining piece. So make markings for the centers and place this 3 centimeters from the top, which is 1/4 an inch. And yes, make sure it's centered. So this is 3 centimeters from the top, centered, 1/4 inch. And I use some needles, pins, and then just sew the rectangle with my sewing machine. And then we will cut the center line. It's working best when you use the rotary cutter. And now we will cut the small V's to the corners with scissors. Don't cut into the seam, otherwise you'd have to do this again. We don't want to. Go as close to the seam as possible, but do not cut into the seam. Just like that. And then you can push the facing through the hole. I just make small folds and form this with your fingers nicely, and then take an iron or your press just for a crisp look, and everything will stay in place, because like this it won't stay where it should be. So do press it with an iron or your press. See, this looks much better. And now we will take care of the zipper. So you take the interior zipper pocket and cut a zipper piece which is 23 centimeters long. In inches, this is 9 inches long. Insert a zipper pull and place it on top of your the lining fabric, and both should be facing up. So we will sew the top edge with 7 millimeters, 1/4 inch, and repeat this to the other lining piece. Both lining piece and zippers are right sides up, and we sew the top edge with 7 millimeters, 1/4 inch, and then press the fabric away from the zipper. Decide which way you want your zipper to close, because this will be in the back of the interior, on the back side. So I like it to close to the right side. So the zipper should close to the right side. Put the hole on top of it so the zipper is showing, and align the zipper facing and the zipper pocket fabric pieces. They should align on the sides, and top stitch a rectangle around it. Then you flip down or put down, fold down, that's the right word, the upper interior zipper pocket, and cut off the extra fabric on the bottom. I have a little bit of extra zipper because my zipper was 24 centimeters long. And then you sew the sides and the bottom, but leave an opening at the bottom edge. Leave an opening at the bottom edge. My opening was about 6 inches long. I don't know, what's that in centimeters? I think 10 centimeters. Yeah, 10 centimeters about. And we will mark the centers here as well, because we will attach the interior gusset piece the same way to our interior front and back as we did with the main fabric pieces. We will align them at the bottom first, the markings on the bottom first, and then attach the top side and work your way down to the bottom. And we will also make snips in the interior, in the gusset interior piece, for a perfect fit. The only difference is leave a big opening in one part. Like I take the slip pocket piece, for example. Like I said, align the bottom and then work my way down from the top. Make snips at the curvy part. Repeat on the other side. And when you sew this together with 1 centimeter or 3/8 inch seam allowance, you make sure you leave a big opening in the bottom edge, on the bottom edge. This is about 8 inches. maybe a little bit longer is 15 centimeters. Whatever makes you comfortable to turn your bag inside out, and then attach the other side the same way. Okay, this is what our interior pocket looks like. We have 2 openings, and again I will trim a little bit of the seam allowance here, especially in the curvy section, but for the lining it's not really that important. Okay, now we will take care of the main zipper closure. So we will take the main zipper closure pieces, the main and lining pieces, and mark the centers with small snips. So all 4 pieces need to be marked on the center. And then we will take our zipper. I cut a zipper piece of 9 3/4 inch. It's 24.5 centimeters long. And I already insert a zipper pull, and I marked the center here as well. And then I place it right side down on one of the main fabric pieces, centered. And it's normal that there are 2 gaps at the beginning and at the end. It's totally normal. So I will baste this together, and then I will place one of the lining pieces right side down on top of it and sew this together with 1/4 inches seam allowance, which is 7 millimeters seam allowance. So when sewn together, I finger press the fabric away from the zipper, and I will just attach the clips so nothing will get in my way. And now it's time to attach the other side the same way. You align the zipper and the main fabric pieces centered together, baste it first, and then put the lining on top and sew together with 7 millimeters or 1/4 inch. Fold the fabric away from the zipper, and now it's time to top stitch. What's special about the top stitching is don't start at the beginning, just top stitch where the zipper is. So you start here until the end of the zipper. So again, there will be a small gap. You see, I started here, and there's no top stitching at the beginning and at the end. And now you put the main fabric pieces right sides together, as well as the lining pieces right sides together on both ends. Attach it with clips, and then sew this together with 1 centimeter seam allowance, which is 3/8 inch. Both short ends will be sewn together. And now we will take our scissors and make a tiny snip in the corner of the lining fabric. Don't hurt any seams, just make a small sip. Not a sip. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe you're drinking a little glass of wine or coffee. But I meant snip. And then you fold down a triangle, aligning the seam with the zipper. So this centered on top, and the triangle will form automatically. So fold it down, align the seam and the zipper. Open up the seam and repeat this with the lining fabric. So turn it around, same, and you could attach them together with your clips. Okay, when that is done, we need to draw 2 lines on our piece. 2 lines. Each line is 4 centimeters away from the raw edge. which is 1.5 in inches. I'll show you how. Just take your pen and a ruler and measure 4 centimeters from the raw edge, from the inner raw edge, 1.5 inch from the raw edge. Draw a line and then sew this line. See, this is 4 centimeters. And then you sew on top of this line right here. And on the other side as well. See, this is how it's sewn. And I trim off a little bit of the seam allowance here because this piece is thick. And yeah, just leave like maybe 0.5 centimeter, which is a little bit less than 3/8 inch. What is half of 3/8 inch? I don't know. And then you will form it out so that everything is wrong sides together. And doesn't this looks pretty already? Since I tried this the first time, this type of closure, I really liked it. So I thought I need to put this in more of my bags because it's a clean, nice look. So wrong sides together and then baste it together. And don't skip this basting. I mean, I told you can skip some of the basting, but this basting cannot be skipped. Okay? Just baste it. Trust me. Baste it together. And now we have all of our pieces ready to be finally assembled. Okay, so take your main body piece and it's important, you want your zipper to close to the right side as well. So the back of the bag was in front of you when it's close to the right side. Now it's the other way around. I hope you do get what I mean. If you can take a look at again where the top stitch marking is on the front. So you want your zipper to insert closing to the right side. And then align all the raw edges together and baste it together. See, this is closing to the right. And I show you how I do it because on my machine, this is kind of a tricky part because I don't have a free arm on my machine. If you do have a free arm, I just suppose it's a lot easier, but you need to push down your fabrics quite a bit and lift up your foot and put it back down when you get to the corners. Like the long way to stitch just straight is fine, but when you get to the short part, you have to push down your fabrics a lot if you don't have a free arm. If I ever get a new machine, that's probably one that I would take really care of, that I want a machine who has a free arm. That's the only thing I don't really like about this machine. Okay, so we've basted this together. See, this is the front. This is the front here where the rivets are, and the zipper is closing to the right side. So when you insert your lining piece, you turn it right side out and you put it inside your bag. Make sure the interior zipper is connected with the back side of your bag and not the front. So repeat the same thing you did with the main zipper closure. You just put it in your bag and you align all the top edges and take your time for this because it's squished together a little bit because of the main zipper. So it might be, it appears to be larger than the main body, but it's actually not. So when you sew this together, just work your way around it slowly and sew the top edge with 1 centimeter, 3/8 inch. And now it's time to turn the bag inside out. So we have 2 holes, remember? So we use the big one that's in the bottom of your bag. We use this one to turn the bag inside out. And I made this a little bit quicker because this takes time. And yes, it's very exciting to see when you get to see your bag. The final look of your bag for the first time is one of my favorite moments in bag making. But yeah, you will take your time and turn your bag inside out. So when you've turned your bag and formed out everything, it's time to top stitch the upper edge. Just right here. You have to top stitch the top edge and then close the openings in the seam allowance, in the lining pieces. So you do use the opening in the zipper pocket to pull out the lining from the main body. And then you can just place the seams right sides together, attach some clips, and then just close the seam right here and end where the opening ends. You just sew this and put it back into your bag, and then you pull out the interior zipper lining pieces and fold the edges of the opening to the inside. I'm sorry, it's not right underneath the camera. I'm sorry, I will show you. Yeah, now you can see it, right? You just fold it in to the inside, finger press it a little bit, and then attach clips and just close it with a few stitches on your machine. Of course, you can do this by hand too, but I am lazy. So this is how I do it. I just close it with top stitching. I will show you how I did the top stitching because I in fact did struggle a little bit because of the no free arm machine. But yes, I just wanted to show you that if you do this like really slow and step by step, you can do this. But this is basically the only hard part about the Azumi bag, because basically this is a really easy, comfy sew. It's quick and easy. This is the only thing that could be an issue when you get to this part where I'm at right now. So maybe a hack that will work for you if you struggle with keeping everything in place at this part right here. You could also turn your bag inside out, so that the top stitching will be on top of the inside, because the inside is now your outer fabric. But that's just a little trick that I've did at the end, because my top stitching didn't look really nice like that, because I did struggle. So turning the bag with the wrong side out, I think that's the correct way for top stitching if you don't have a free arm, is a little trick that can be helpful. So look at this. This is what it looks like when it's done. Of course, you need to press it maybe a little bit to get all the wrinkles out of the bag after turning. But just take a look at everything you made and see if there's some thread that you need to trim, that you need to snip off. And then basically you're done. Oh no, wait. You're not done. Like always, there's one thing I keep forgetting. The strap. We do need to make a strap for this bag. So I've chosen faux leather, the same faux leather that I used for my corners on the top and the back. And the size of your faux leather strap depends on the width of the hardware you use. So mine is 2 centimeters wide. I'm not sure in which country you are and what's your favorite size of hardware. Maybe three quarters would be right. So the width of your strap that you cut is 4 times the width of your hardware. And then you mark a center line lengthwise and fold the raw edges towards this marking, both of them. So you fold the other side to the raw edge as well, and then fold it together. So you have like a double fold. Does that make sense? A double fold. And you could use some double-sided tape for this as well. I use clips because I'm cheap. I don't want to spend money on double-sided tape. So I use clips and just make a double fold. And then I will sew the long edges together. So top stitching both of the long edges. Since I want to attach rivets, I'll make some markings. So each rivet at each marking is 1.5 centimeters away from each other and 3 centimeters in the middle, and then another 2 markings. So this is where my rivets will be, and where the sliders be, the middle gap is 4 centimeters. So marking 1.5 centimeters, marking 4 centimeters, marking, and 1.5 centimeters marking. I hope that makes sense. So I make some holes with my tool, which I don't like as well because it doesn't really make holes and you have to snip off any, because it don't cut through, but I'm too cheap to buy a new one. So I'm keeping it. Yeah, I do. And of course we punch the other short ends as well for our rivets. And then it's time to adjust to insert our slider and our swivel hooks. And I've just learned a new way of this, because describing it was so hard for me. So I figured out the other way is much more easy to do. I don't know why I kept describing it the other way around. So this is the first time. So first the slider just on the center bar, and then I'll attach the 2 rivets here so that just the slider is attached to the strap end with the bigger gap in the middle. But take your measurements however you like to attach it. So we thread the short end of the strap over the center bar of the slider and then attach the 2 rivets. And I use a press. It's really handy. Okay. And then we take the other short end. We make sure the right side is up and we thread 1 swivel hook and then thread again through the slider above the attached other strap end, over it, through the whole slider. This is way easier to explain than the way that I did it in the pattern in the ebook, but I'm sure you've done this a couple times. And then we'll thread the second hook on the short end and close the rivet, close it with rivets. If you don't have rivets on this part, you can also sew this together. See, I have to use it again because it didn't punch through all the way. But I'm not buying a new one. Okay, stop it, Sarah. I'm sorry. Okay, make sure that the right side is up, that you fold it to the right side and not that is twisted around. Attach 2 rivets as well. And yeah, your strap is done. So that means yes, you're done now, and you're really done. Nothing else to do. Just have to take a look at the bag you've made and be proud of yourself because you've achieved this by yourself and with a little help of me. But you did this yourself. So take a look at your bag and be proud of yourself. I really hope you do like my instruction, my pattern. I hope everything was easy to follow. If not, just write me. Give me some feedback. I would love that. And don't forget to tag me on your posts because I love to see your Azumi Crossbody bags. Have a great week. Have a great day. Whatever you're doing, keep sewing and enjoy the bag that you just made by yourself. Thank you. Bye bye.